Thank you for coming to Anduril HQ, former Los Angeles Times printing knit press. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, you can see where we cut all of their machines out of the floor even. So, you know, we didn't actually rebuild the floor. We just went in with a grinder and cut out all of their machines.
And you're building something similar, right?
Oh yeah, very similar. All kinds of cool stuff.
So I'd love for you to just maybe walk through one or two of your favorite things here.
Sure. So this is our public showroom. We have another one that's full of stuff that I can't show to anybody without permission from the government. But of the things that are in this showroom, one of the things we're most proud of lately is Fury, also known as the FQ-44. This is the first autonomous fighter that the United States Air Force has ever procured. We recently just flew it for the first time. We went from signing a contract with the Air Force to first flight in 556 days, which is, as far as I know, the fastest new fighter development program since the end of the Korean War. The really exciting thing about this program is we were competing against a lot of the big guys. So we were competing against Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and in the end, Anduril beat all of them, which was really, really gratifying to go from starting this company to going toe to toe with the guys who are legends of the fighter community and actually get selected to build something to fly. So it's an AI powered fighter jet that flies alongside manned fighters. So imagine if I had an F-35 pilot, he might fly with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of these alongside with him, extending his weapons webs forward, his sensors forward, and allowing them to engage in risks that you would never want a person to do. You know, there's a lot of ways to win a fight and live to see another day. There's a lot of ways to win a fight and sacrifice pawns on the board. And autonomy means that you can do that without the ethical problems of, just throwing away human lives.
And what do you think this costs you compared to what the government it would cost them?
I think that we're, in general, much more efficient than the government. We've done a pretty good job. Anduril's we like to think of our approach as being a defense product company, not a defense contractor. That is, we're not getting paid to engage in contracted work where they say, go and do, this many hours of work to build exactly this thing. Instead, we're investing our own money in building what we think the right products are, and then we sell them to the government. So we want to be going to the government generally with a product rather than a PowerPoint, or at least a prototype instead of a presentation. And that's gone really, really well for us. It leads to way better incentive structures. We make more money when we move faster rather than more money when we move more slowly. We make more money when things work the first time rather than more money when it takes 10 tries. And you can imagine which of those leads to better outcomes.
How far do you think we are from invisibility cloaks and masking? And I don't mean by radar. And
sure. You mean like visible spectrum?
Visible, yes. Yeah.
That's actually a lot easier.
You think so?
Oh yeah, way easier.
Really?
It's a lot harder to hide from synthetic systems. So if you're talking about like radars or lidars, or there's a large number of ways that you can see the world that are not just visible spectrum imaging. People are actually relatively easy to fix. Anduril has a project going way back, building optical camouflage for the Ghost helicopter drone that we make. And it's essentially a projection system that looks at the target, looks behind, it looks at where the target is, knows where you are, looks behind you, and it calculates the luminance and color values that you would need to match whatever is between your target you're surveilling and the background. So that might be the sky, that might be a mountain, it might be a cloud. It's not that hard, and our eyes don't have very good resolution. Ghost has a very narrow frontal cross section. And so it was actually designed partly to make itself very workable with optical camouflage. So building drones that are invisible to the human eye at the ranges that you're using them, it's not just like a hypothetical. Anduril did this in like 2019, 2020. Actually, let me see if I can find something for you. I might have a picture I can pull up of some of those tests.
An invisible.
Yeah, invisible drone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're looking for an invisible drone right now.
So what we did is down here at the end, we had our drone with the system turned on and off. So this is a Ghost drone, just the body of it, like, not without the landing gear attached. And we put it up on this tripod, and we were testing it against the truck and then also the sky, because those are very, very different systems. So we were moving up and down to view, to make it change color as the observer moved. But this is with optical camouflage disabled. See how you can clearly see the body against the sky?
That's
see how you can see this ever so slight disturbance?
Yeah.
And see how it's perfect and it lines up, and it can't, the goal wasn't, and by the way, you'll see how the body is also copying the truck as well. Right. So in this case, it was turned off. then we turn it on. So it has to have part of itself be the sky, part of it be the truck. It's a very, very difficult high contrast problem to do both at the same time. If you're all in the air, it's even easier. The point is, visible spectrum optical camouflage is actually quite easy, but something like this would be trivially easily seen by, an infrared camera, thermal camera, LiDAR, radar. So the biggest problem with optical camouflage, and the main reason you don't see a lot of money being put towards it in the modern defense space, is it's not actually that useful. It's useful against human adversaries who do not have any other technology to aid them. And those are not really the enemies the United States is focused on stopping these days. So, like, for example, you might notice Ghost doesn't come with optical camouflage. All of our customers have been briefed on this. They've seen this. Their point is, Palmer, I'm not going up against a bunch of guys, who are walking around with their naked eyes and nothing else. These are people who are, we are concerned about adversaries like Russia and China and Iran that are armed with very, very high levels of technology. And if anything, the optical camouflage in some ways actually makes it easier to spot.
So you don't think UAPs use optical camouflage?
There's a lot that we don't understand about these vehicles and what they are, where or when they come from. But it is likely that whatever they are doing is a side effect or an artifact of what's going on. So like I've talked about this with people. They're like, well, how come like sometimes they're invisible in certain spectrums? And my point is, well, like, what if they are not interacting with reality itself in a way you would expect? Like, some of these things, you see them and they don't have any radar signature either. I don't know if that means they're cloaking themselves actively, or if it means that just they do not exist even in the way that we think about physical matter. I don't know if it's an active countermeasure so much as the nature of the thing itself. But of course, there's so much that we don't know. My current working theory is that they come from the past. So
interesting. Okay.
Coming from the future is too hard. The physics just don't seem to work out. But if you think about it in a certain perspective, like, there's a question of where they come from. Like, do they come from Earth? Do they come from nearby? Do they come from really, really far away? Wherever they come from, spatially, the question then is, okay, temporally, what is more likely, that they happen to have come from this particular instant in time, or the hundreds of millions or billions of years that it existed prior to our existence? That could be true if they were just like waiting around and then came over, at some point. It could be the case if they are regularly surveying and have just been around for a long time. You could imagine a world where maybe the Earth hosted advanced civilizations 1 billion years ago and we just don't even know about them, and these are the remnants of that. I'm not betting on any of these. It's just that wherever they come from geographically, there's a very, very long tail of time. And also there's ways to travel forward through time very quickly. If I create a very strong gravity distortion, I can have subjective time inside of that bubble passing very, very slowly relative to the time racing by outside of it. And so it's very believable that something from the distant past could come to our present. Not really believable that something can come from the future back into our present. So that's my bet, is basically, given that there's been a lot more time before now than now, just probabilistically speaking, I think it's likely these things have been around for a very long time. That's just my...
Not saying I know, but I have some ideas.
I'm not saying I know what's up. I'm saying that is my current guess.
Okay.
Based on what I know.
Interesting.